Hi everyone, welcome back to IR Unfiltered, the podcast where we make international relations make sense. So let's get straight into it. Today's topic might sound boring and dry, but these legal sounding terms actually shape peace treaties, wars, climate deals, data policies, and almost every single international agreement you could have ever heard. We're talking about international agreements, specifically how to tell the difference between a few, such as a treaty, convention, charter, and so on. Let's break it down. We'll start with a treaty. What is a treaty? A treaty is basically a formal, legally binding contract between countries. It creates obligations under international law, and once countries negotiate, sign, and then ratify a treaty, they're officially saying, yes, we agree to follow this. There's even a set of international rules that govern how treaties are created, interpreted, and ended, which is known as the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties, signed in 1969. If you're looking for famous examples, the Treaty of Versailles, which officially ended World War I, or the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which tries to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons. Now, next up, we've got a convention. A convention is actually a type of treaty, but it usually involves more countries and is often created under the umbrella of an international organization, such as the United Nations. They typically deal with broad global concerns like human rights, refugees, or the environment. Think of the Geneva Conventions, which set rules for humanitarian treatment during war, or the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which protects the rights of children globally. So when you hear conventions, think of big, formal, multilateral treaties with global goals. Next up, we've got charters. A charter is kind of like the constitution of an international organization. It sets up the entire structure, explains how it works, and lays out its mission. For example, the UN Charter is the founding document of the United Nations. When a country joins the UN, it agrees to follow the Charter. It's legally binding and it forms the core of how the entire organization operates. Then we've got a protocol. A protocol is an update or an add-on to an existing treaty. It might strengthen the rules, add new parts, clarify the original agreement. Like the Kyoto Protocol on the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. It added specific targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So protocols are like follow-up documents, which are kind of like side documents which go deeper into the original. Now, let's get on to a few of the less formal ones, starting with MoU or Memorandum of Understanding. An MoU is usually not legally binding. It's like a formal way of saying we're on the same page. Countries or even companies use MoUs to express a shared interest or plan, but they aren't always enforceable in court. It's basically a written promise to cooperate, but with no serious legal consequences if someone backs out. Closely related is the Memorandum of Agreement. It's a bit more specific than the MoU, and depending on how it's written, it can carry legal weight. Usually it defines who's doing what in a shared project. Now, there's one which is a little more old school, which is known as the Exchange of Notes. This is when two countries agree to do something in writing, literally exchanging diplomatic letters. Once both sides agrees, the exchange becomes a binding agreement. It's formal and it's traditional, but it's still used. Next, we've got an arrangement, which is the most informal. Arrangements can be written or even verbal. They're often used for something technical or administrative cooperation, like sharing scientific data or coordinating customs operations. And finally, we've got an umbrella agreement. This sets up a general framework for cooperation. Think of it like the skeleton of a long-term partnership with smaller, more detailed agreements developed under it. It's useful when countries want to keep working together on different projects over time. So why does all of this matter? Because these aren't just technical terms. They determine how much countries are legally bound to what they sign. They decide whether someone can be held accountable if they break a deal, and when it comes to solving huge problems, from climate change to humanitarian crisis, knowing the difference between a treaty and an MoU actually matters. That's it for today's episode of IR Unfiltered. I hope this helped you untangle the complicated world of international agreements. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow our show and share it with your friends. Thank you.